Okay, thank you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrofil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi washabbihi ajmain. Amma ba'd. Today we are going to have the next contender for the proposal seminar. Yeah, it is Nuralifia. Nuralifia from class of 2018, right? From class of 2018 or 2017? From class of 2018. Okay, and then your advisor, who will be your advisor? Your advisor is?
Fine art activity add-on to students' vocabulary enrichment at lower secondary level.
Your advisor, and then you
Okay, my advisor
title.
is Mr. Aswir M.Pd. Sorry, sir.
Okay. The advisor is Mr. Aswir, and then your title is Fine Art Activity add-on to student vocabulary enrichment at lower secondary level. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And then I hope before you are going to join this proposal seminar, you already watch all the previous proposal seminar first, and then you have your own description, you have your own preparations about what kind of question that I often ask your friend. Okay. And before we are going to start this proposal seminar, let's recite Basmalah together. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I hope you're going to give a clear kind of explanation, and then you can answer all of the questions. And best of luck, time is yours. Come on, I'll leave you.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay. Good morning, Mr. Sofian. I'm Nuralifia. In here, I'm going to presenting my proposal seminar with the title Fine Art Activity Add-on to Students' Vocabulary Enrichment.
Okay, wait a second. Wait a second. You want to present your proposal seminar, or you want to explain your proposal? What was that? Repeat it.
Okay. I would explain my proposal seminar.
You are going to explain your proposal seminar, or you're going to explain your proposal? It's two different terms.
Okay. Sorry, sir. I'm going to presenting my proposal with the title Fine Art Activity Add-on to Students' Vocabulary Enrichment at Lower Secondary Level.
Okay, proceed.
Okay. Maybe we can start with the first chapter, introduction. Okay, the background of the study before I'm going to explaining and before I'm going to presenting the strong reason, which is a reason that makes me wanna do or wanna choose the kinds of innovation that I choose in this research. I will describe about what is vocabulary first. Okay. As we know, vocabulary is the most important components in English that can support for skill in English to the students, such as reading, listening, writing, and speaking. But for the student who has lack of the vocabulary, they will do not understand what are they saying. And then for the student who has many vocabulary or who mastered the vocabulary, the students will understand what others saying in English. And then for the students who has like the vocabulary, they also don't have the proper strategy or the proper method to learn English, to expand.
Wait a second, what do you mean by they will don't have? What was the term? They will don't have, what is it? That's a random kind of sentence.
I mean where the student do not have many vocabulary, they will miss out the opportunities to learn vocabulary from their surroundings, sir. I mean that like that, such as they cannot utilize the opportunities learned from listening radio, listening music, watching film, or reading novel, etc. But in here, for the students who has mastered the vocabulary or who has many vocabulary, they will easily to learn the vocabulary from their surroundings, and they will understand what's others saying in English. I mean like that. And then, however, we as a teacher, vocabulary, it's not one components that important in English. There is grammar. Grammar is also important. Grammar is another important component that also teacher have to focus. Teacher have to teach in English. Why? Because if the teacher ignore the grammar, the students don't use the grammar in their daily conversations, in their English when they're talking. So I think the point or the topic that the students talking about cannot be properly conveyed. That's it. And then for this era, this millennial era, vocabulary came through with real activity, came through with any strategies that properly or that's suitable with the students' interest. Because for right now, we have many technologies. We have social media to learn English. So we as a teacher, we not only can only reading or only speaking, only listening or only writing, but we also can utilize the smells, the color sounds, the mimics, the motions, etc. Okay, and then we as a teacher, we have to creating an atmosphere or a learning environment to improve our strategy or methods in teaching vocabulary. That's it. And then also crafts or art were one of the profitable learning option for young children, and it can help the brains of the younger learners to improve their creativity or their imaginations. And then due to English is introduced in Indonesia at lower secondary level and usually using curriculum 2013, we as a teacher, we should be placed the vocabulary to the first place. We as a teacher, we need to make the vocabulary is an important aspect that we have to deliver, that we have to introduce first to our students gitu. And then but in fact, many education practitioners, such as teacher, and then textbook or worksheet or the package, ignore the importance of vocabulary. And even the teacher ask the student to learn the vocabulary by their own self. The teacher do not guide the students, or the teacher do not plan the proper strategy or method that's suitable to the students' interest. That's it. And then another reason why I wanna improve the vocabulary of the student is because the most of students comes from the primary school that do not have English subject, and then also the many students comes from the family environment that do not introduce them English or vocabulary. So then they don't know what is vocabulary. They do not have many vocabulary, and they don't have any motivation to learning vocabulary. And then yeah, that's it. And then it was demonstrated by my observation at SMP TK Mizan Depok. And then it becomes an obligation we as a teacher to choose to find the appropriate or the suitable strategy or method to match to the students' interest. Okay, and then for coping with this, the researchers find art activity as the strategy that really match to the students, that really match to the things that students really like, the match also with the background of the students and the background of the school that the researcher choose. Okay, this reason on and the strategy is support by some expert. Exactly according to Chi 2017, she said that arts can serve as a stimulation, refresher, and facilitator, as well as build a bond between students and lecturers and encourage students to learn creatively and critically. The point is, arts not only can improve the vocabulary of the students, or arts not only can make it students easily to remember the vocabulary or remember the words in English, but also arts can make the student thinking by creatively and critically in the classroom or in English class. I mean like that. And then making pottery of a clay is one of the fine art that the researcher would like to implement. Okay. And then Bailey 2019 said that using clay to do the research engage students' visual and kinesthetic sense, because if we teach junior high school students, usually they really like to visual strategy for learning English, such as watching film, watching movie, watching cartoon, etc. And then therefore, integrating art activities into learning not only can enhance students' vocabulary or enhance students' creativity, but I think integrating activity learning or integrating art in English, it will make students active in learning, so they can talk with each other, they can active discussing with their friends. That's it. And then based on my explanations, I conclude that I found the one of alternative solution to improve the students' vocabulary, that is find art activity, that the researcher hope that the fine art activity can improve students' vocabulary, and then can teach the students that memorizing vocabulary by their own strategy or by their own interest, without relying the teacher translation or without seeing the meaning of the word in Google Translate. That's it. And then for the next chapter, okay, sorry, I got typo in here. I mean, second chapter, literature review. Okay. In this study, the researcher will discuss two kinds of points. The first one is vocabulary mastery, and the second one is art. Okay, at the vocabulary mastery, including the definition of vocabulary and the vocabulary mastery, and then the types of vocabulary, and then the importance of vocabulary, and then the problems in teaching vocabulary in the English class. And then the second one is art, including definition art, and then the types of art, and then art in teaching, and then the benefit using art in teaching, and then the disadvantage using art in teaching. And then for the next chapter, methods and procedure. Okay, for the time and place of the study, the researcher will conduct the research at SMP TIK Mizan Depok. Okay, for the time, the study will start on May to June 2022. And then for the method of the study, the researcher will using qualitative research method, exactly descriptive qualitative research method. And then for the subject of the study, the researcher will do the study or will conduct the study on 7th grade junior high school at SMP TK Mizan in academic year 2021 to 2022. And then for the technique for collecting the data, the researcher will using 3 multiple way in techniques for collecting the data. The first one is observations. One type of the observation that the researcher will conduct in this research is observation participants, that the researcher will join into the class and then will help the teacher to ask the student to make or create some pottery, such as flower vase or jars or glass, and then help the teacher to teach of them, and then help the teacher to do the learning process and introducing the vocabulary to the students. And then the second one of technique collecting data is interview. The data was gathered through a dialogue between the researcher and the participant. The teacher and the students are respondent. And then the last one is documentations. As an evidence of the researcher collects the data or papers. Okay, and then after doing the observation and interview, the researcher examine the document based on book, observation and interview. And then the last one is technique for analyzing the data. Okay, according to Miles and Huberman, 1994, interactive models are used in the there are 3 parallel activity flows: data reduction, data display, and conclusion. The data reduction, the result of the interview, observation, and documentation will be compared to characterize the teacher's fine arts activity techniques employed in the class. And then the second one, data display, the researcher present and assess the data gathered based on the classification as well as responding to research problem statements. And then for the conclusion, the researcher makes summary or conclusion and confirms the findings in the final phase. I think that's it for my explanation about my proposal, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. And then now let's go back to your first slide, please. Okay, there we go. Reading your title here, there are several kind of questions that may be appear to all that read your title. First of all, you're mentioning about fine art activity. So what is it, fine art activity here? What kind of term that you mean by fine art activity?
Okay, the kind art activity is a kind of active learning that I'm going to use this research. make fine art is making a pottery or a craft from clay, sir. From clay. So in the process of learning, the students will creating some crafts or from clay, such as flower vase or mini table or jars, glass, plate. The point is making crafts from the object that there are on their surroundings. From my personally, that's the term for fine art activity.
Okay, so you just made up the definition of fine art activity, or it is term that familiar used by the teacher in teaching. Come on, Olivia.
Sorry, sir, can you repeat the question?
Okay, fine art activity added on here. It is the term that familiar used by the teacher in teaching, or you just made it up, all the explanation that you mentioned.
The fine art activity, this category includes artwork done purely for aesthetic reason rather than for commercial or useful process. Drawing, painting, ceramics, and sculpture are example.
Okay,
Maybe
so
that is
now
the other definitions and understanding.
okay, now you are reading the definition of fine art activity added on. Yeah, my question, when you try to use this one, you can use it in educational purpose, or it is for an art kind of exhibitions, or it is a project of art of it. Come on.
So fine art activity is a project of art. Yeah, I think the project of art that I integrate in my innovation, or I use it as my innovation into my strategies in improving students' vocabulary.
Okay, then can you please try to give a description? Try to describe it. How are you going to use this fine art activity added on while you conduct this research? Come on. Because
Okay.
when you explain the previous one, okay, this can be using clay, this can be using painting, this can be using blah, 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 blah. So for your research here, what is it? The fine art activity added on that you're going to use. So it is not randomly mentioning it is clay, it is painting, it is blah, blah, blah. But you gotta make a specific one, a detailed one. So what is it that you're going to use? Come on.
Okay. We know at the 7th grade junior high school, we have a material about objects around us or things around us, the material. Sometimes in the classroom, we find so many objects such as pencil, whiteboard, mini table and chairs. And sometimes the students, when want to talk in English to mention the name of that vocabulary of the object, they sometimes forgot, sir. They don't remember. Even the teacher already explained the vocabulary, already give them the vocabulary of the object. So in the classroom, I'm the researchers. Before I am make this proposal, I already discussed with the real teacher English at M.Pd Kamizan that I have an innovations in English learning. That is the strategy, the one of appropriate strategy is fine art activity. That is I will join to the class and I will ask, and we are going to create some object that they really like. For example, they like to use it, they like to remembering mini table or flower face. So that one students will create a flower face. And then while creating the craft or creating the pottery, we as a teacher and I as a researcher will asking to them, what's the name of this object? So the students will mention the vocabulary, and then what's the functions of this object? So the students will mention also what's the functions. So not only the vocabulary, but also the adverb and the adjective noun. That's kind of the vocabulary that I'm going to explain. And yeah, that's it. I think.
Okay, that's my point. Okay, all the time when you try to explain, you're mentioning random one. Okay, for example, the student they love painting, so fine art activity add on here is in the form of painting. And then several students they love play. Yeah, they love what is it? The other respect on fine art activity added on. So it is not a specific kind of things, activity that you're going to do for your students, right? So you're going to make it specific here. So what is it, the activities? So what is it that you're going to do? It is a painting. So it is the use of clay of it. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so
and the next one here, vocabulary enrichment. When we try to have a look at vocabulary enrichment, and then you ask the student, for example, here to paint something, yeah, do a painting of it. How painting here gonna enrich their vocabulary with the painting? How?
okay. Usually when the as a teacher we ask them to painting, while the activities we can ask them to mention the colors, for example the colors of the object. Hi students, what's the color of this object? And then what's the function, what is it? Is it animals, or is it object, or is it people? So the students can will do the interactions between the teachers and the students. That's it.
You are not answering how painting gonna help the student enrich their vocabulary. Yeah. Again, the next one, lower secondary level. Okay, why this lower secondary level?
Okay, because I had 3 years experience dealing with lower secondary level in school at Depok, sir. So I watched them, I watched their interests. I think many of them really likes to using games in for the strategy of the learning, or using the colors such as coloring painting. So I wanna give them explanation, and I want to give them the understandings that English not only remembering vocabulary or remembering the words, or you can talk with English, but English also can motivate yourself to learn another things, to learn another subject, to learn another skill, to improve another skills, not English only. So yeah, I love with young children's. Yeah, that's it. Maybe.
Okay, that's enough for the first slide. Now let's go with your second slide, please. Second slide. The first chapter, introduction. When you explain, when you give the elaboration of your first chapter, you're mentioning many aspects, many things, yeah, based on your background of the study. Yeah, background of the study consists of several things. First of all, majority of the researcher making or conducting the research based on their experience, yeah, their personal experience. And then second one, based on the problems that happen, yeah, and then after that one, based on their own responsibility to provide, to provide a better or to provide an alternative kind of solution for the problem that happened in a certain educational context. Now, I want you to please try to identify those three things that I already mentioned become your background of the study. Come on, Nuralifia.
Okay. The three things, sir. Okay. The three things from background of the study. I found many students that comes from a family environment that do not introduce them English because lack of educations. And then also they comes from the primary school that do not have English subject. And then also the teacher usually ignore the importance of English, importance of vocabulary. So then they do not facing the vocabulary first, but directly ask the students to only to read the material or only doing the assignment on worksheet. I think that's
okay. How come that you can come with such kind of the conclusions? It seems like you know them well enough. You're mentioning their background, their family background, and then the method or strategy that used by their English teacher on primary level. How come that you notice all the things that you mentioned? Come on.
okay. Before I found that the reason, I have a best friend, Anita Rahayu, as an English teacher at the school that I will do the research. So I observe the background of the school, the background of the characteristic of the students with her.
And then what else? That's all?
And then when the researcher relate to the experience that the researcher had in at Depok junior high school at Depok, most of them comes from Javanese and Sundanese, so their mother tongue is hard to pronounce the vocabulary or the words or the English as well. So they don't have any confidence to learn English. So when they wanna do the simple conversation or daily conversation, they don't want to express their idea, so they don't have any motivation in English. So yeah. This research, I'm not only wanna improve their vocabulary skill, but also wanna improve their confidence and motivate themselves to love English more and learn English more. I think that's it.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to the next slide, please. Okay, your next slide here is about the literature review. You're mentioning about vocabulary mastery, and then you're mentioning about art. Yeah. And I guess the question, it will be relevant with the first question when we talk about your title. How that you're going to integrate the art in educational context that gonna lead vocabulary mastery for the students? That will be the question. Come on.
Okay, the way I'm going to implement art in English process is, the first one, I will show them from a video on YouTube. I think video on YouTube, like how to create some pottery from clay, and then I will ask them to make a group to discussing what kinds of the object that they really like, or what the hobby that they really like. So for example, they one of them really like to playing guitar, or really like to writing a book or writing a story. So maybe we can choose that one of the object that related to their hobby or their interest. For so we're after that we're going to make a clay. We are going to make a pottery, a crafts from that object that they have been choose. And then from art, that's all for art.
Okay, my point here is about integrating art and then making art here to be a tools, become a tools for the students,
Yes.
especially in enriching their vocabulary. And you are not mentioning the step about how you're going to do the integrating process. And then the common one, when we try to integrate any kind, anything here, we come with the first, what we call by diagnosing first. Diagnosing what kind of the student, what kind of the students' hobbies based on their art maybe, and then what kind of the students' favorite persons that they love to paint, and then blah 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 blah. After diagnosing, and then you can try to come with the activities that related with something that the student love to paint, love to create, okay. That's why how that you're going to integrate art in educational context, especially here to enrich their vocabulary mastery. And then for the literature review here, I guess you skip also several things, since you only mentioned vocabulary and then also art, you have to mention also what was your specific topic about for this one. Based on your title, you're gonna put every single term that you use on your title, and then you're gonna put it also for the literature review. You have to put it on it. And the next one on literature review, also you're gonna come also with some a previous kind of study or research that deal with the same kind of topic with yours, and then support your research. Because the research here is not a standing alone kind of research, but you need the previous one, you need more reference, so you can compare between your research and then with the current research that existed. Okay, Olivia, next slide, please. Okay, this one, method and procedure. For the method and then procedure, your research here, what type of research that you're going to do for this one?
Qualitative research.
What is it, quantitative or it is
qualitative research, sir. Qualitative research.
Qualitative?
Yes.
Why is a qualitative one? I thought you were going to implement those, what is it, art thing, and then that will be the treatment. And then you were mentioning it is a qualitative one. How is it?
Okay. The reason why I choose qualitative because I want a more.
No, I'm not asking you the reason behind choosing of qualitative. My question here, based on what you explained, it seems like you're going to implement such kind of treatment and art integrating in a teaching process. You're mentioning it is an innovation, and then suddenly you are mentioning it is a qualitative one. Come on.
Because I want to explore their creativity. In qualitative method, there are the techniques of collecting data, that is observation. And one kind of observation that I'm going to use is observation participants. Observation participants is the researchers can join to the class to doing the learning process.
Yeah, but you're not the one that's gonna integrate the process of making a painting, a process of making clay. That's a contradiction, I guess. You have to consult more with your advisor, yeah? Because starting with your first chapter, second chapter, and then your background of the study, when you try to explain it, it seems like you're going to do the treatment. You're mentioning, okay, sir, this one, blah, 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 this, how that we're going to ask to motivate the student, blah, blah, and then on your method and procedure, okay, I'm going to do a qualitative one. It seems like you are doing only an observations, documentation, and then seeing some other person, some other teachers can implement this one as their innovation and then not yours. Can you see the point? Okay, Olivia?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, if you're going to do a qualitative kind of research, or it is a content analysis kind of research, or it is a discourse kind of analysis, or a contrastive analysis or error analysis of it, you're not doing anything. Yeah, you're going to do an observations, making a documentation, yeah, based on the setting that already happened on it. No such kind of treatment, no such kind of blah, 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 blah. You're going to do the research based on natural context of this setting. That's why it's a little bit contradiction one more time. The way that you explain it, starting from the beginning, from your title, first chapter, and then also second chapter, it's look like you're the one that giving the treatment for the students, and then you're going to enrich their vocabulary. How come here that you're going to enrich their vocabulary? You're not giving them anything. Can you see the point?
Yes, I see, sir.
Okay, I guess that's my point, Nuralifia, and hopefully of this one you're going to discuss more with your advisor, and then you have to come with me with your complete proposal so we can discuss, we can revise your complete proposal. Yeah, okay, but not in this week, I guess we're gonna do that one after Eid al-Fitr. Okay, I guess that's all, Nuralifia, what I can ask, and then please you can take all of this suggestion, try to revise it for your complete proposal. And then let's close our today's proposal seminar here. We're reciting Alhamdulillah together. Alhamdulillah bil alamin. And then the last, Wallahumma fiqolah ila sabil rasad. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, don't forget that this one you have to send the link of this proposal seminar.
Okay, sir.
Okay, the link only. Yeah, I'm the one that's gonna download the file, so just send me the link of it. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, Olivia, thank you. See ya for
Thank you
your
so much.
revisions. Yeah.